Yeah, so we're gonna get started with our meeting. This is our fourth meeting for the Game Dev Club. Hope all of you are doing well. We're gonna start off with announcements. So we have the round one social this Friday. Signups have closed for that, unless if you want to bring yourself to the round one social. At least signups for the carpool have closed. The plan is to get there at 4 p.m. We'll be renting out a karaoke room for you to place all of your stuff in for 2 hours. Also, if anyone wants to do karaoke, you're free to do that during that time. And then if you're a VIP member, please meet me in the karaoke room, and then I'll get you your arcade credits. And then if you're in the carpool system or if you're a driver, we have the list of drivers and the carpoolers here. I'll also be sending out a link to the spreadsheet in the announcements channel. If you're a driver, please come and see me after the meeting. I just want to finalize some contact information. The idea is that we'll meet at 3:15 at the tennis courts. And also, if you have any problems with that time, please let me know. You can message me on Discord or just see me after the meeting. Just one more reminder, or not one more reminder, but our Game Jam is a month away. This is a competition where you can make a game under 48 hours. And you don't need any experience to join. It's just sort of like it's actually a great thing to add to your resume, saying that you're able to create this project under 48 hours. And it's going to be on the weekend of October 14th to the 16th, both starting and ending at 3 p.m. Next up, our club has bucket hats. We have an interest sheet going on right now, and I believe I sent the link in the meeting general. If you're interested, fill out the form over there. And there's also a QR code there if you'd like to do that instead. And then there's no commitment to this form. It's just purely for numbers so we can gauge how many people might be interested. Next.
Oh, you want me to do this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. So our last meeting was our game pitch meeting. So we're just going to go over some of the pitches for you as a refresher also. And if you guys had missed the previous meeting, just to like really quickly go over the teams that we have if you guys haven't yet decided what team to be on. So we have team one, which is Planetary Pursuits. So it's what was supposed to be a simple internship turns into an interesting adventure as you meet with personified planets. That's a dating sim game. Cluster Magic, which is a Magicka / Spellbreak MOBA combo that requires heavy mechanics and APM. Circle of Growth, which is a 2.5D platformer game where your character can manipulate the level around you. There's Untitled Hardcore Platforming Roguelike. I'm not sure if you guys have figured out a title for that game yet, but basically you descend into a bottomless pit to recover the treasure at the bottom, and you fight powerful enemies with the items you find along the way. Next is Beat Shot, which is a rhythm game. Their motto is sort of move to the beat and don't shoot your feet. We have Fiddle Contest, which I believe they changed the name to Demons and Drumheads, I believe is the name of the game now. Basically, you play as in a small music studio, and you have a mysterious device that, if used incorrectly, adds voices to the audio passed through it. It's like a horror type game. There's Artificer Defense, so you get to make spells, and you can use the spells as towers in a tower defense game. And then there's Love Quest, which basically, what if we made characters for side quests and RPGs dateable, but they still kept them toxic? So it's like another dating sim game.
All right, cool. So now that you have your teams, I'm going to hand it over to Enzo, who will continue.
Okay. Should probably stand in front of the mic. Okay, so this meeting is more like a checkpoint meeting since we got through the game pitches, which is like, no problem, which is like the first big checkpoint of the semester. So now that we've gone through all of the game pitches and we formed our teams, we want to do some housekeeping before we continue so that every team is set up to like continue on like a good pace and make sure they're making progress and stuff. And also we'll talk about establishing goals, which is really important for keeping these teams active and making sure they're making progress. And also we'll talk about assigning tasks to different group members. So first let's go over the timeline for the rest of the semester. Okay, so this is basically the semester as a whole. You can see the first thing was the game pitches, which happened last meeting. So good job to everyone for getting through that and for making teams. And what we're trying to shoot for is December 2nd is our club banquet, and that's when game demos will be shown off to the club. And so if you don't know how it works, we're going to have like On that day, we're going to have like a big party basically, and every team is going to go up and present what they've done for the game, and hopefully they'll have like a playable demo for us to play. And some of the things that need to happen along the way are every other week there are team check-ins. So the first team check-in is next week, not this week. So during team check-ins, basically, we just go around and ask every team what their progress has been for like the past week or two. And it's okay if there's not that much progress, like especially during midterm season. It's just to keep like a gauge and make sure like everyone's like talking to each other, even if things aren't really happening. And some of the other steps along the way are the housekeeping that we'll take care of right now. So the first important thing is to set up repositories for the game projects. If you don't know what that means, I'll get into that in a little bit. And then we're going to create and assign goals for the games, which is the next important thing. And later on, are we talking about this today, exporting games? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. So we'll show you how to export your games for when you need to for the club banquet. Of course, you won't need to do that for a while, and we'll go over it again probably like when the time comes by, but just to like catch you up to speed on how it's done and stuff. So the most important thing probably for collaborating on this project is a GitHub repository. For those of us that don't know what a repository is, either you're like not a CS student or you're like a really new like freshman, a repository or a repo, that's the short version of the word, is a place for a team to store all their files online. So basically it allows everyone to see the files, and you can see all the revision history of the files. So if it's important because like if you mess something up, right, you can go back and revert it to like one of the previous versions. As well as this, you can make different branches basically for different people to do work on, because since everyone's going to be collaborating on the project, right, we can't all be doing the same thing at once. Everyone's going to be doing different things at different times, and it's going to cause issues if we're all like trying to do something different on the same project at the same time. So we use a repository as a way for storing these changes when they're in progress and for keeping track of all the members' changes. So we highly suggest that you use GitHub. GitHub is probably the most well-known repository. It's free, and a lot of employers like to see your GitHub for CS, especially when you're like doing all that stuff for like internships and stuff. So getting projects onto your GitHub is actually really important, even though it's not something that's talked about a lot in class. So some steps for setting up the GitHub. Even if you are not a CS student, you need to use GitHub because that's how you're going to get like access to the project and stuff, and to make edits to the project. So everyone, please create a GitHub account. It's free. I use my CVP email, but you can use any email. And the team lead needs to create a new repository basically, and invite all the members to to be collaborators. Should I show them how to do that? Yeah? Okay. So, oh, someone's unmuted here. So, if we go to github.com. Okay, so Larry is logged in, so you can see that Larry is signed in here. And what you want to do is to create once you've created your account, what the team lead wants to do is they want to create a new repository by hitting new here. And then you would name the repository something like, we'll call it test. I'm sorry, I'm making a new repo.
Okay.
And then you could create a description if you'd want for like what the repo is. So you could say like, this is a game. Oh, I can't type. For the fall 2022 game dev club. And then just set it to public. We don't really need it to be private for our purposes. You can add a README. A README is just a text file that basically says here's everything that's in the repo and how to use it. So you could add one yourself and just write it. A git ignore is actually pretty important. So a git ignore is a file for when you add stuff onto the repo. The git ignore tells the repo to like ignore some of these files. So this is important, especially for game dev, because In Unity, we have like meta files that are like in progress files that like when you open Unity, it creates these files to be like, oh, everything here can be changed. But when we're adding these changes, we don't want these files basically. So what you could do is you add a gitignore that ignores all these files. So if you're using Unity, you could actually just look up Unity, and there's like a sample one for you to use. I don't know if there's a Godot one.
There's a Godot one.
There's a Godot one? Let's see. Oh, there is. Okay, so you could just look up what you want to use for whatever engine you're using. So we'll use Unity. And you want to create the repo. And all of these things are actually addressed in the video we did last year. So we'll link that video again for you guys to reference. This is just like to give you a basic high-level understanding of how it works. And what you want to do as the team lead is you want to go into the settings, and then you want to go to collaborators.
Just use that. I don't
yeah.
log in.
So Larry just has two-factor authentication.
What's the number?
88. It's probably a good idea to use two-factor authentication for
Always
everything.
use two-factor.
Yeah, always do that. Because one time my Yahoo account got stolen, and I had my Minecraft account on it, and like some kid was using my Minecraft account, and so I changed it back and enabled two-factor authentication. He was like, "Why did you take it back? You sold it to me." I'm like, "I did not sell this to you." So yeah, please always use that. And then getting back to what we were talking about, you could just add people, and you could add them by their email for the GitHub. And that will basically allow everyone to see what's on the repo, and then to basically use it. And then it'll go more into depth how to actually code, or not to code, to how to actually take things, or to clone the repo so that you can use it. So we'll send a video out on how to do that. Basically, what you do to give you a high-level understanding is you go to code here, and then you copy this, and then you need to download Git. Okay, I just realized there's a lot of stuff that needs to go on here. But basically, GitHub uses Git, which is, what's it called? It's like a version control. So that's the thing that keeps track of all the different changes you made. So once you download Git, you could clone this into your computer, and it'll copy all the files, and you'll have them to use. And then you can start coding and stuff and like adding stuff. But we'll send out a video on how to do that. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, of course. I'm pretty experienced with that stuff. All right, let's go back to what we were talking about. So after that, that's yours? Okay.
Okay, so next you need to figure out how to organize your project. First of all, you're obviously going to want to schedule team meetings every once in a while. We suggest using One to Meet to make scheduling easier. It's a website you can just use. Basically, you send out the link to your team, and everyone will enter what times they're available. And on the side, it'll show the times where everyone is available or how many people are available at different times. So it makes it really easy to schedule meetings. You can use the voice channel we provide you in your team categories, or you can make your own server, or if you really want to, you can also meet in person. It's kind of up to the team. You also need to plan some tasks for like what you guys want to do next. Just like some small steps. You don't have to like design anything big for now. We suggest using a task board like Trello. It's also a website that's free to use. You invite everyone onto the Trello board, and you can make little cards of tasks and add like checklists to them. You can check off what you've done and like have different categories. It makes it really easy to keep your team organized. And then of course you have to prioritize different tasks and have a timeline. Don't forget that our game demos will be shown at the end of semester banquet on December 2nd. So be sure to keep track of the time. Some example of some basic tasks that you can give to your team is programming the character movement. That's a smaller task when it comes to coding. Having your artist design the character model or character sprites. Having your artist design the tiles for the environment. Having your programmers have the game detect input, so like when the player presses a button or clicks the mouse. Or having your musicians create some music or sounds, or also finding some sounds online.
So yeah, this is sort of more at the end of the project, and then we'll also be reminding everyone how to export your game. Once you export your game, there's a few different ways to do it. I know for Godot, you have to download another like exporter file in order to do that properly. And then for Unity, it's already built into the engine. And then there's some YouTube tutorials that could help you with that. The big thing is that you give credit to, of course, your team members, and then also any extra assets you used, especially if you didn't like create all of the assets. And then usually we have everyone upload the games to itch.io, which is this site. So yeah, itch.io, really good way to upload all of your games and stuff like that. What you can do is go here to upload new project, and it's gonna ask you to fill out a bunch of information, whatever, and then you could place in like a short description, tagline, and then even place like some screenshots, or if you have a trailer for your, or a gameplay demo, you could place it here, the link right here. And then you could also like place a cost onto it if you really wanted to. And then you upload the zip file right here. And then if you're trying to make it playable within the browser, you could also place it in here. And then like sort of depends on like whether your game is like 2D or 3D or how complex it is. It sort of determines like how well it will run in the browser. And then you could place your description here and place in, and then for usually on the first upload, it will restrict this public option. Afterwards, you could just go back into the file. Like, let's say, I'm gonna go here, go to the dashboard. Let's say we wanted to go here. You could just click edit, and then you could scroll all the way to the bottom, and then just click make it public again. And then once you do that, you could check your page and then see how the project is. Yeah. So, and then last but not least, this is sort of like what we're seeing. Yeah, it's just a short MVP of your game. You're gonna just show how the game works, and then something that people can play during the banquet. And then a short presentation that shows the sort of like the development of your game. So if you have any like fun screenshots or of like bugs or other stuff, or even like just like progress, like here's like day one, and then here's like the last day of the project, like sort of just like a before and after type of thing. And then yeah, just have the playable demo and present it at the club project. Yeah, and it's also important to note, you don't like, it's okay if the MVP is not perfect. The point of the MVP is that it's a minimum viable product. It's just supposed to have the bare minimum. But even if you don't like fully accomplish that, that's perfectly fine. This is a club after all. It's mostly for you to get experience. We're not grading you or anything like that. So you don't need to feel any stress if you have like other personal matters that come up. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the meeting. For those of you who are drivers to the club, to the thing, please come up and see me, or if you're on Discord, please talk to me, DM me through there. And then also we have the sign-in sheet on our meeting general chat. And yeah, is there anything else you want to mention?
This is unrelated, but this Thursday and Friday there's a career fair on campus. So the best way to get info on that is to go on CPP Handshake, which is like a website for you to get in contact with employers and stuff. If you plan on going, I would recommend looking at, so Friday is high tech career fair, Thursday is regular career fair. I would suggest looking at what companies will be attending and picking a few out that you would like to talk to, and then researching a bit more and like getting to know what they do. And then I would also recommend preparing, like printing out some of your resumes if you have some, and preparing like an elevator pitch for yourself. So you would just like introduce yourself, what you do, like what your major is, what year you are. And yeah, it's a great way to get in touch with a lot of employers. I've been to some before, and even though like I went actually to a non-high-tech career fair, even though I'm CS, and actually I got in touch with a lot of recruiters in different fields, and I was able to get like link with them on LinkedIn. So even if you're not really looking for a job, it's a good way to like get in touch with a lot of different people.
Yeah, so career fair this Thursday and Friday. I believe it's in person, and then there's a virtual one next week, something like that. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you very much. You're free to stay in the room and do whatever, or you're free to go.